Hello and welcome to the Unfazed podcast.
I'm Emmett.
I'm James.
And I'm Ben.
Actually, we haven't had James on a podcast on the channel yet. So
welcome.
Hey, James, introduce yourself. What's your name, James?
James.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool, there's James.
There we go. All right.
Welcome, James.
We have a small crowd of 3 today.
We do, yeah. So we haven't podcasted in a while. Usually we do these things in large groups and shovel them out in segments. So here we are again. It's been a while since I've seen any of these guys.
Feeling good. Feeling good to be back in the saddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just did a little loop outside and
Yeah. So we were kind of talking about the death of Blockbuster and how there's only apparently one left in Portland, Oregon, something like that. You can fact check us if you want. But something like that. I believe there's only one left, and it's not even like an official Blockbuster. It's like sort of like an independently run operation. We were thinking one day that would be a really cool travel vlog to do. I'd love to make that happen someday. But Emmett brought up a good point about how that was such a big part of our childhoods, going to places like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video and the video store, and how it was such a great experience. And we just wanted to kind of talk about how important that was and the difference between streaming services now and actually being able to go and get something in your hands that night. What are your thoughts on that, dude?
yeah, it really hit me when I realized that Ben and I go to the mall here a lot, Fashion Square in Scottsdale. And that's always been a place, I've been going since I was a kid, because I've always lived very close to it. And there was a GameStop there for years and years and years. And I think in just the last couple of months, that GameStop closed down. And it wasn't until then that I was like, oh my God, at least 50% of the reason I go to this mall is just for the GameStop. Yeah. So when that was gone, it felt like the heart of the mall was just gone for me.
Now it's just a bunch of yoga pants walking around with big Scottsdale asses.
Yeah.
And pretty good pizza.
They have good pizza. And yeah, there really is a charm and an excitement to being able to go into a store like that, being surrounded by all these different options and being able to look at them and hold them and check them out and talk to other people in the store about them, like whoever's working there at the moment. T. Yeah. The guy at that GameStop, his name was Spike, and he had the Jack Sparrow tattoo. It was so bad.
That was his real name.
Yeah, it was
it's on his birth certificate.
Spike Sparrow.
Spike Sparrow Lee.
Yeah, he was a nerd, obviously, but yeah, he got the job done. It was a great vibe. Like, you kind of like that. You like the nerd at the cash register and the games everywhere and the goofy little kids, and now it's just like cold and unfeeling now when you just look online by yourself in a room, download, and then downloading it. I hate downloading games, specifically games, because obviously you can stream movies and stuff, but games, once you buy the game,
I like having the hard copy.
Yeah, and you buy it, you go home, it's instant, right?
I even went to GameStop last week, actually over by here. Yeah, it was completely dead inside.
God, so sad.
It was
and downloading games, it was a big game. It would take hours. Mm-hmm. So your excitement is just it's kind of dying through those 4 hours, but once you buy the game, you can drive home, and your mom drives you home at 8, and you're like, oh, fuck yeah,
Yeah, and it's awesome. You're stoked,
Yeah, and you're looking at the box.
I was telling him before, when I was in middle school and high school, I would literally go to the midnight premieres getting games, and I would miss school the next following day.
Yeah, I remember going to the midnight premiere for Skyrim. That was such a blast.
For Call of Duty, Bad Company, too.
That's awesome.
Never learned how to read, but man, I love those games.
Woo! And the other thing I think is that when you're on Netflix or something, you have all these choices and you have instant access to all these choices, and sometimes that can be overwhelming. A lot of times I'll just check out everything that Netflix has, and nothing will pique my interest. But when you're in a store, you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
You're buying that one movie.
And it's fun kind of having that, let's say, I remember at Hollywood Video they used to have these deals. I think it was you could get 3 or you could get 5. I forget.
I think it was 5.
It was probably 5. Probably 5 towards the end. But and I remember it was kind of cool. You're kind of okay, we have 3, only 2 spots left.
Right,
what are you going to pick?
Right.
And it would be you'd usually pick the 2 that you're most excited about, the new releases. And the other ones would be old standbys or just B-movie horrors that you could fall asleep to, But yeah, there was definitely a magic to that, man.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie store vibe, and I think it's kind of a testament to the time that we live in. That Blockbuster's gone and Toys R Us just died and went out of business.
Yeah.
It's things are transitioning from tangible to digital, and it's so kind of sad because that's what we grew up with.
It is sad, yeah. And all those Blockbusters, they had a vibe. They all have that specific smell.
Yeah,
and it's great. And you have to. I've been noticing more and more that it's important that when you are in a store, you have to zero in on that one option. But on Netflix, you can change it at any time, and a lot of people do that. Like, they'll watch like 10 minutes of one movie, and they're like, oh, fuck this, and you change it to another movie.
Zombie beavers.
And it makes you really, like, you're not as invested. When you go into the store, you're more invested in that one film, and even if it sucks, you're probably going to watch the whole thing, unless it, like, really, really just bombs. But, with Netflix, you get lazy, and you get sort of, like, over-gratified, because you have all these choices, and you can just switch on and off, and...
I mean, I done that last night.
Right, but it makes you kind of numb to it. Like, I have Netflix, but I really don't watch it that much.
It kind of makes you wonder if
especially now with, like, because it's October, I miss Blockbuster just going in Halloween, renting movies.
It kind of makes you wonder if they would have continued on, because I know they had talked about... I'm pretty sure Blockbuster did the mail-in service.
They did
like how Netflix started originally.
Yeah.
They were like a mail-in DVD service. It would have been interesting to see, just because people have all this love and nostalgia for it, if they would have transitioned to like, hey, we have our own streaming site just like Netflix, or if they would have merged with Netflix, and then if they would have kept the physical store, just like how you can still go to a GameStop and buy a game.
Right.
It would have been interesting if Blockbuster was like, hey, we still have physical movies, and you can still get video games and stuff here, but you can also stream. I wonder if, I know business would go way down, obviously, but maybe if there were select titles that you could get physical copies of, I wonder if they could have somehow made it work.
Yeah, they were just behind, like, the game. Really, they did start the rental movies, but they I don't know what happened. They even tried their own Redbox.
Didn't Netflix reach out to them and they declined?
I think
Netflix tried to engulf them.
I'm pretty sure, you'd have to check me on this, but I think it was Sunbright Films on YouTube that had a whole video on this. I could be wrong, but I think on there it says that Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix for like something like $1 million or something like that, and they passed it up because they were such a big company.
Yeah.
It could have even been less. I could be wrong.
It was like an X on a graph.
But at that time, it was probably like early 2000s, and they were like on top of the world, and they're like, well, we don't need. They probably had a lot of weird little offers like that, and they're kind of like, well, we're on top. Who gives a shit? Yeah. And little did they know, in a decade they'd be completely dead.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
But it's crazy, man.
But yeah, it really does make me sad. And I found myself going to the theater more because of that. I think because I want that. I want that event vibe.
I don't think the theater's ever going to go away. I think I remember a few years ago reading something that they were asking Steven Spielberg about how they thought movies would be in the future, and Spielberg was saying that it would get bigger and it would be more of like a sporting event, and it would be like this big thing, very expensive to bring in all these people, and every decade they'd have to make it more and more grand. I don't think it'll be like that. I think they will have to step it up as far as comfy seats.
They've already started with that.
Better quality.
Have a couple of 4K experiences now. Never been there, but
that'd be cool. Yeah, but I don't think it'll ever go away just because of what you're talking about, like the sense of community, experiencing something with a group of people that's fresh. That whole experience of just going out. Like even though you're going out to sit in a dark room and watch a movie, it's still a big thing. It's still, you're going out that night. You're doing something. You got the popcorn, you got the soda, whatever it may be. And they are stepping it up. Like certain, like, Fashion Square, for instance, like they have like the little coffee shop there, and they have the alcohol you can get at AMC's and Harkins, and they're starting to do that now, and they have the dine-in theaters, and they've definitely stepped it up for sure, because they have to, because there's a lot of reasons why people could stay home and just watch stuff on Netflix or Amazon.
Right. But I do think the amount of people going to movies is still pretty much the same. You in the last couple of years,
it feels like it.
A couple of years ago, you heard that like it was dying, and like theaters, people need to go to the theaters, and the streaming services are like ruining everything. But on the other end, there's always like these new reports that like every other movie like tops the charts, right?
Seems like it, right?
The new Star Wars like broke the records for sales. The new Avengers broke the records for sales. But those don't count for inflation. If you look at a chart that counts for inflation, it's still like Titanic, A New Hope, blah blah blah. Yeah. It really hasn't changed that much.
Strange Wilderness, Steve Zahn.
It's just and so somewhere in there, I think lies the truth that it's really just kind of a static like population that's going to these movies. It really hasn't changed that much. I mean, it fluctuates here and there.
I mean, like if you're 15 years old going to see movies all the time, chances are when you're 35 you're still going to love to go see movies. Totally. When you're 55, when you're 65, when you're 75 though, you just don't care. No, I'm kidding. But pretty much, you're always going to love going to the movies no matter what. So that's always going to, like you said, stay static.
Yeah.
But I also feel lately the quality of movies has gone down. We talk about this every single time. But every time I go to the movies, it's like, okay, if you're really worried about putting asses in seats, let's kind of up the quality a little bit.
Yeah. We're not gonna stop talking about it until it stops. Yeah.
It's like let's get a little more inventive. I mean, like, okay, we've raped the vaults of Marvel. I mean, let's and we're getting into DC, you know, it's like, okay, let's do something else, guys.
I'm slightly excited for Shazam though. That looks like fun.
I'm excited too.
Finally,
that one looks good. You guys want to segue into Venom?
Yeah, so both of you saw Venom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I don't care about spoilers. There might be spoilers. We'll let the viewer know if there's spoilers, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, I'm gonna try really hard not to give any spoilers, but if I do, I'm always pretty good about saying, hey, spoiler.
So my first big question was how was how was Tom Hardy's
Tom Hardy, this was probably the best role I've seen him in.
Really?
Pretty much. Because he was very likable, and you could understand him completely.
You could understand him. That was my big question.
Because in a lot of his movies, Tom Hardy, God bless him, has a tendency to mumble, and that's just the way he is. But in this one, you can understand him very clearly. There was no mumbling, and he was actually very likable. His character was very kind of. I don't want to say exactly how you like Peter Parker, but in a similar sense, you're on his side.
Okay, yeah.
And like right off the bat, you like him. He's likable. Overall, I went in with the expectation of like that the movie was gonna suck.
Yeah.
I was like ready to hate on Venom completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both.
I was like, this thing's gonna fucking suck. I went in. I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this, and I ended up really enjoying it. I actually saw it twice on the big screen.
Interesting, yeah.
I liked it a lot, man. I thought they did a great job. I thought it was well paced. I thought it felt more like one of the classic Marvel movies from like 15 years ago. They did a very, very good job.
Awesome.
They did a very good job. I liked how they used Venom sparingly through most of the movie. It was more of a power that was kind of taking over Eddie Brock instead of him turning into into Venom like right off the bat. Like there was a lot of build up.
Cool. Good.
Very good action sequences. A little bit of humor, which was nice, kind of interlaced. Not too much though. Not like Deadpool. Like, I'm funny. I'm Deadpool.
I mean, there was like a couple of stupid jokes, but overall,
Yeah.
Was the turd in the wind scene in there?
That was at the end.
That was like the last line.
That was the last scene.
Okay.
Yeah, which I thought was stupid. That was stupid.
Yeah.
So as far as
that was in, like every single trailer.
yes, as far as that was very like that was very like Deadpool humor, like kind of like, hey, we have to dumb it down because that's what they think the audiences want.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
I don't get it,
Yeah.
but things I liked. I enjoyed the action. I enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed Tom Hardy.
Cool.
It was good overall. I'd give it like a solid 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah,
agree with him.
all right.
Yeah. Now my complaints, graphics. Looking at it, like he looked very cartoonish.
Yeah.
And it's like it's 2018, dude. Like it looked like something from 1999.
Yeah.
That was my complaint. Like I looked at it and I'm like, can't do any better.
I told him to. They relied on the darkness, like so it didn't look half bad.
But it didn't look great.
Yeah.
Like all the best parts are when it's Tom Hardy and he like shoots his hand out and knocks someone out with the Venom symbiote powers. But when he's actually fully Venom, it looks kind of silly. It looks a little silly. Right. And my second complaint was that they didn't go for the R rating.
Yeah.
And they were saying, well, we need PG-13 to bring in more of an audience. It still says fuck in the movie. It says it one time, so they push it as hard as
that's all you're allowed.
Yeah, that one fuck as hard as you can go on PG-13. They still did it, so it's not really geared towards kids if you're doing that. It's not totally clean like a Spidey or anything like that. So they should have just gone for the R. And one thing that I think they should do, or at least that they should consider in the future, is during the daytime showings, the matinee showings, have a PG-13 rating, and then have an extra 20 minutes of an extended cut that's R-rated, and after 8 p.m. the adults go and see the R-rated extended cut.
That's a very good idea.
Actually a really
good idea.
I think that would be freaking because that way you still have your sanitized version, so you can make money off the underage kids who deserve to go see a super villain movie.
Basically, what they're doing with Deadpool on Christmas.
Yeah,
really.
They're making a PG-13.
But they should do that all the time, so that way if Timmy, age 9, wants to go see Venom, he can go see Venom. And then if the dad wants to go see the hardcore extended cut because he loves Marvel and he loves action movies, he should be able to see the R-rated cut.
Yeah, that's
and I think they should both be able to coexist because you can easily sanitize a movie for TV. You can easily clean it up and make it.
They always do that anyway with the director's cut.
Yeah.
But
So it's like, why don't they just do that right off the bat? Because they would probably make even more money because
that's a great idea.
people would go see both versions, especially if they did that with superhero movies. They'd be like, well, what's the difference?
Yeah, totally.
And
they probably would actually get more money that way.
And that's my thought on the whole thing. Sorry to rant on it.
No, you're totally good. I was mildly excited for it in like the spring when the teaser came out.
Yeah.
And then when I saw the first full trailer and I saw all that CGI, I was like, dude, fuck this.
Yeah.
But so my two complaints were the CGI that looked like hell, at least from the trailer.
Yeah.
But then my other thing, and this also kind of might segue into we were going to talk about the Joker, the new Joker movie.
Yeah.
So we can talk about the next. But all these weird. I mean, it's interesting that they're coming out at the same time. Venom and the Joker, these standalone villain movies, and these two villains specifically, and Venom specifically too. And this may seem shallow, but it's not, because comic books are a very visual art form. And just visually, Venom looks like the evil Spider-Man. So I thought it was very weird to have like a standalone Venom movie without Spider-Man. Like, how are they going to tie that? It's not going to make any sense.
Yeah. They did a good job, though.
Cool. So I'll give it
a
shot now. Yeah.
And one thing that I did like another thing that I really enjoyed about the movie was that they didn't try so hard to tie it into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It wasn't like, hey, we have to throw in the goofy new Spider-Man and we have to throw in all this stuff. They didn't do that at all.
Yeah.
There was one mention of Jameson. And I'm assuming that was J. Jonah Jameson's kid, who was the astronaut. Was I wrong on that, or was that just a coincidence?
No, yeah. His son was an astronaut. Yeah.
Okay.
His
and that was the only mention of anything in that realm. Like there was nothing else connected to.
Very interesting.
No mention of Spider-Man, no mention of the Avengers, nothing. Thank God, because I think that would have cheapened it.
Totally.
Further,
because New York's always getting fucked in those movies.
Yeah, and it all takes place in San Francisco.
Oh,
wow. Which is kind of cool. Yeah. So overall, like I said, I have a few complaints about just the visuals and a few things like that, and the rating, because I wanted some graphic violence, and they didn't really, because there's scenes where he bites people's heads off, but you see no blood, you don't see anything.
Wow.
So it's like, I thought that was kind of, why even bother at that point. But overall, for what it was with a PG-13 rating, they did a very good job.
Was that guy from Nightcrawler Osborn, or was he someone else?
He's a different character.
He's a different character. Okay, so it's like a different conglomerate altogether.
Yeah, he's just a different villain. He did pretty good. Yeah,
he's getting interesting roles now.
He's getting interesting roles. Yeah, he's. But yeah, overall, I liked it. I watched it twice. I'd watch it again. They did a good job.
Check it out.
Like I said, wish they would have pulled the trigger a little bit more, but still a solid movie. Yeah, like totally exceeded my expectations.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
Let's give it a go.
Well, I already told them, like, one complaint I had, like, just one more ad was just love interest. That's it. She was so bland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she was a little two-dimensional. Like, she was pretty, but
what I would love to see is, I think, there's so many iterations of every superhero, and there's different iterations of Venom, and one of my favorite ones is, it's called Agent Venom.
Okay.
When it's used as a secret operation in like Afghanistan or something. It's like a militarized Venom.
That's cool.
And it's like it's what is his name? The bully who bullies Peter Parker.
Flash Thompson.
It's Flash grown up. He like joins the army.
Cool.
And he is
His
the
Venom.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the soldier that they use this project
badass.
on. Yeah, so it's like Flash in a fucking war, like
love that.
Being like this military Venom, and I would love to see that as a movie.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
Flash
So
was
cool.
a Venom.
Yeah, I don't see why they don't do that, because people would go see it.
Yeah.
Why don't they like just dive a little deeper?
I think that's because we're going to talk about the Joker. I think that's what they're finally starting doing.
And my thing is, it's like it doesn't always have to be an origin story. Like we get it. Like it's like just throw him up on the screen and let us like. Did Deadpool 2 make money? Yes. Wasn't an origin story, was it? There you go.
Right.
And look at all the iterations of X-Men.
That's one thing I mentioned to you more. Like I feel like it's weird when they have like this origin story and then he's just this like top-notch superhero for the rest of his life. Yeah. They should do one or the other. I feel like it would have been super cool if in the first Iron Man, like the whole creation of the suit was just sort of that one instance, and then that was it. Like, because a real guy isn't going to go out and save the world every day. We've had this discussion a lot. That always pisses me off. Like ever since then, he's just been Iron Man every day of his life.
Aliens in New York again? Got it.
Yeah, right. Like, it would make it so much more, like, cherishable and important if it was just this one crazy fucking thing that happened.
I've always kind of felt that's how the Punisher should be. Like, it's like the Punisher, like, hits his breaking point, and then, like, he has one movie, and then it's kind of like a falling down type situation. It's like... That's that's it, balls to the wall violence.
Yeah, and even him, he's trying to like avenge his family, right? So like once he does that, he's done. He should be done. I hate how they keep going forever. Like it's just unrealistic. No human being. I mean, I don't mean to like bring humans down, but like
fuck humans. I'm gonna make a stand.
Even like the greatest people have like their their high point that everyone remembers, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, if you look back on Tony Stark as like a historical figure, he's like, and on this day he saved New York. 2 days later he saved New York again. Like, it's just silly, you know?
Yeah.
You gotta bring it down.
And one thing I didn't like about the Avengers, and we've talked about this before, but like there's nothing at stake. It never feels like any of them are actually gonna die. And even in this last one, it's like, oh, Thanos killed them all. No, he didn't. They're coming back. They're coming back. Like they're not. Yeah. It never feels like there's anything at risk. But even in like the old X-Men movies. It seems like when someone died, they died.
They died.
Yeah.
It was like, oh shit. I mean, in Days of Future Past, they brought everyone back, but that was the new shitty era of Marvel. But like, I feel like back then it was kind of like, oh shit, those characters are gone. What the hell?
Yeah.
I remember leaving X-Men 3 and still being young enough to where I was like, no, they can't kill all these characters. I was mad when I left. I was like, I didn't like X-Men 3 because so many X-Men died. I was like, what the hell?
That's why I have such a love-hate relationship with the second like Amazing Spider-Man. Because it had that one scene where Gwen Stacy just fucking splats, right? And that's
Spoiler
hardcore.
alert.
Yeah, everyone's seen that by now, right? It was like, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, but the rest of the movie was Gwen Stacy. The rest of the movie was shit, though, right? Yeah, it was just like weird, cartoony. The shock guy? I don't remember anything except for that one scene. Because it was like, oh my god.
Wasn't Paul Giamatti the Rhino?
At the end. It was at the end.
I forgot about that.
I mean, I love Paul Giamatti, but man, I don't know.
Then he was like this weird like mechanical tank rhino.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything else about the movie was shit. But that one scene, and I think had the whole movie been more. Yeah. Not as much as the Tobey ones, but
Tobey's all about heart.
Yeah.
I love the original. I think Spider-Man. The first Spider-Man is like one of the best superhero movies ever made.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree. There should be more repercussions. There should be actual death. And the other thing that...
It's like in that one, like Uncle Ben dies, and like you felt it, man. Yeah. And like, I mean, I also saw it when I was like 8, but...
Even Norman Osborn.
Yeah. Even now watching it, though, you're just like, oh man, like that's kind of like depressing, you know? It's like sad, but it really fuels Spider-Man's fire. You know, Peter Parker's fire. But now, you watch it, and it's like, it seems like they all go into battle, and it's a big thing, and there's not a drop of blood.
Right.
There's nothing... Yeah, it's just like everyone charging into battle, and like there's nothing at stake. Yeah. And it's weird.
Not only mortality on the protagonist side, but on the antagonist side too. Because there's always like faceless thugs that they're just fucking killing left and right. Yeah. And then always like they soften it. Like there'll be some like, you know, dumb guy with a pistol, and then Captain America like fucking, you know, these guys are dying.
Yeah.
Like they get thrown everywhere, like they're fucking dead. Like, you know, they assume that you'll either just forget about them or think they're like knocked out. But no, I mean, all these guys are like mass murder.
Yeah. Like Captain America hits you with the shield. Your neck's broken.
I think their closest attempt was probably killing off Quicksilver, and that's.
That was
garbage.
I don't even remember that.
That's exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like
Age of
that's
Phil.
that's literally their like attempt to make us try to feel sad. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it should be more of an event when you're in an altercation, like a physical fight altogether. Well, but it's just like secondhand for them now in those events.
Even with the newest one, like you thought Tony Stark was gonna fucking die.
Yeah, no. I thought he was gonna die in Civil War. I thought that was so fucking cool. I was so excited because like in the end, have you seen Civil War?
I actually haven't.
Spoilers. Do you care?
No.
Okay. In the end of like, I like that one a lot because usually, a lot of the time in those movies, the combat is like a dance routine. Like it's so cleanly choreographed and like you don't believe that anyone's actually getting hurt.
Yeah.
But in this, it reminded me a lot of like the Return of the Jedi duel. Where Luke is just like beating the shit out of Darth Vader. Yeah. That's what Captain America's doing to Iron Man. He's got his shield and he's like fucking beating his chest. And I was like, this is badass. Like he's gonna die because he's got that thing right here, right? Yeah. But he's fine.
Yeah.
I was so pissed. I thought like Captain America was gonna beat him to death, and I was like, that's so cool.
Like fighting along with the Winter Soldier was like.
More than hardcore.
Yeah. But then Iron Man just gets up and he's like a little woozy. You know? Like I'm like, come on, dude.
I mean, like you look just like James was saying, like. Norman Osborn in the very first Spider-Man, it's like, Peter, I was like a father to you, you know? And then he dies and you're like, fuck, that's depressing. And then there's still repercussions. Like you see, Harry Osborn thinks that Spider-Man killed his dad for no reason. Yeah. And like that like segues into the whole next movie and the movie after that. He's pissed off at Spider-Man. Right. Like, whoa. Shit, man.
All those relationships, those interrelationships.
Yeah, and that's all thrown out the window in these new movies. They're just kind of like, oh, look, new teammates on the team. And then they come in and it's just like, ooh, new costumes, ooh. And then it's like silly.
Yeah, it's all new gear and shit.
Yeah, it's like, we got new gear, we got new members.
They're like a sports team. Like, they get the new gear, they get the new members, and that's all you're excited about. And everyone's like,
the house they live in together, it's a fucking frat. Okay.
Yeah,
Team up.
You never see him go. You never see him go poo. You know, they never
grown adults living together.
They never go to the bathroom.
That's
like,
true.
Ever.
That's true.
You never see him like ever.
Yeah.
Like it's like, dude, I just went to space and back, and it's like I gotta take a shit. No, you never see him. I mean, Iron Man. Okay, he can go in his suit. I think they acknowledge
Probably.
that.
Yeah,
But like, you know, like Bruce Banner's got to go. Like that whole time when he's Hulk, does he ever?
Captain America goes in his shield and then he flings it somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. Yeah, they're very like sensory overload, and they know that's what people want. But when this actually literally goes back to the first thing about the streaming and stuff. You have too much going on when you have like a streaming thing. You have everything is available to you, everything's happening at once. When you go into a movie, or like a Blockbuster or something like that, you have to pick and choose. And when you go into the theater as well, obviously you got to pick one movie. So everything is like very slowly paced, and everything is more important and just cherishable to you because of that.
Yeah.
But and that's like the old Tobey movies. Like when he becomes Spider-Man, that's an event, and it's like cool. You want to see that, and then there's like 10 to 15 minutes of just Peter. And then there's like shit goes down.
Yeah.
But in these new movies, it's like streaming because it's just constantly shit in your face. Everyone's beating each other up. So it's like it cheapens the action. It cheapens
One thing
everything.
I don't like about the new ones, like we're talking like Homecoming and movies like that, they feel they have to be funny all the time. Like you'll have a moment of like, hey, here's the sad part. Okay, we gotta have the orchestra music come in and make it sad. Here's the tear, and then it's like, okay, haha, and then the fat friend comes in and makes a joke. Not fat shaming, but you know he comes in and he's
a fat guy.
He's a fat guy, you know, and he's the comic relief.
You know what he signed up for.
Was he supposed to be Harry, by the way?
No, he's not.
Oh, okay.
Nah.
Is there no Harry in those?
I don't think so.
But he comes in and he's just like, hey, we got to make a joke, and everything's got to be that kind of awkward, you know, sort of Disney Channel humor that they have, and then you got to throw that.
That's the main problem right there. Disney.
That's the main problem. Yeah, and they throw that in there, and it's just kind of like it doesn't always have to be, you know, like short attention span, haha, throwing a laugh. Like, no, we can have like think of the original Spider-Man, like the whole Thanksgiving sequence, like that was so tense. It's like he's got like that cut on his arm, bike messenger, knock me down. And then it's like that whole sequence, there's no laughs in there.
Right.
Like the only laugh is like I think they used in the trailer where like Aunt May like swats Norman's hand away.
Right.
And like that's it, like just 'cause it's kind of quirky, but like the rest of it, it's like it's a real movie.
There was like real human interaction.
Yes.
In this, they're like icons. They're like a Greek statue or something.
And these
they're
ones,
a real person, you know.
Yeah, and it's like okay, it's been 3 minutes. We better throw in a cheap joke.
Yeah, totally.
Let's throw in a silly observation or a fart noise, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just like fuck that shit.
And the other thing about you just bringing it up when he was talking about the bike messenger and everything, a lot of the fun of those old movies was you watching him like keeping the act up. Like no one could know he was Spider-Man. That was so cool.
You're in on a secret.
Yeah.
Interacting with the world, basically.
Yeah.
We don't get that with
Yeah, you don't get everyone like the whole world knows who all these people are. Like I feel like even Spider-Man, everyone knows who Spider-Man is in that world, or at least they didn't really. Did they really get into that in the new Spider-Man movie?
Homecoming.
Dude, he was Spider-Man a lot during that film.
Yeah. So but everyone know who he is.
And like
I
can't really remember. I think there's a scene where he like goes to a party and he's pretty clumsy about it. Like he doesn't really. I don't know.
Weird. Yeah, because that dynamic is super cool.
It's very forgettable. I can't even remember all the details.
Like I own it, but
it was whatever. It didn't need to exist.
Right. Yeah. For you.
It didn't need to exist.
Yeah, I feel like with all these superhero movies, you got to figure out what the important like dynamic is, and with Spider-Man, it's definitely like keeping his anonymity, and like with Superman, it would be Superman interacting with mortals. And in all these movies, there's like, they bring in like the CGI alien for him to fight. Like, we don't want to see that. We want to see, we want to see him stopping the criminals, blah blah blah. They always like shit it up by bringing him with someone who's like as strong as him. But that's just the whole point of his character is that he's like way above us.
I finally got all the way through Batman v Soup. And I got all the way through Justice League. I watched all of it, and let me just say, I do not like Zack Snyder. I'm not a fan.
I used to like him.
Yeah.
I feel like his first two films.
He's too in love with his style, and he needs to just get away from superhero movies. But anyway, I watched them, and they weren't as bad as I thought they'd be, but they still weren't great by any stretch. Their biggest problem is they don't know how to do villains properly. They don't know how to do, and also the aesthetic, like it's a little too stylized. Like it looks a little, like I said, he's too into his style. Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, we get it. Like, let's focus on the story a little bit more, dude. Like, and I thought Batman's costume looked silly, but I love Ben Affleck. I think Henry Cavill does a good job at playing Superman and Clark Kent.
Henry Cavill's done, by the way. Did you hear about that?
He's done, isn't he? I don't know.
It's really weird right now. It's not really confirmed.
Is it not?
I don't know. I can't make.
I saw the thing on
Yeah,
Instagram where
he
he
doesn't
held up
re-
a Superman toy. And
Yeah,
he was like, no.
but he doesn't really say anything. Like, even his manager didn't really give us like a actual word.
I
don't
we'll
know.
find out. That's
But
weird.
my thing is, yeah, I'm cool with Affleck. I'm cool with everyone like that. But they don't know how to do the villains properly in those movies.
Yeah.
Kind of best villain in Mission Impossible 6.
Yeah, there was like
Oh.
Steppenwolf was like some like rock band from the 70s was like the bad guy in the new one.
Weird. Yeah. Everyone loved Wonder Woman, but even then I thought the villain sucked in that.
I thought the villain sucked too.
Yeah, the villain
Yeah.
was the weakest link of that whole thing.
But she's
It's-
so hot. Like, I know she's hot.
It's
Yeah.
the best DC movie that we have for our generation
And that's-
now.
and that's not
but
saying
that's
much.
not that. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
not saying much at all.
Yeah.
And still, my theory about that whole movie is that the real hero was Chris Pine, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I told you what I thought should have happened.
What was that?
Chris Pine should have made it out of that plane before it blew up, and he should have come to the future and become Green Lantern.
That would have been badass.
That would've
So
been sick.
he's supposed to be in the sequel. I don't know as what though.
I don't know.
As Green Lantern.
That would be great because wouldn't that have been cool if he was like, because
That
they
would've
said
been
Hal
sick,
Jordan was
yeah.
a pilot, right?
Right,
and that would have been cool if he was
yeah.
using an alias
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
then. They could have totally
But
made it happen.
and so that whole thing with him made me realize how untouchable they make all these superheroes. Like Wonder Woman knew she wasn't gonna get hurt by anyone.
Yeah.
It's like who gives a shit? But that guy, like, he flew that plane up there. He knew he was gonna die. Like that was the only sacrifice in that whole film.
Yeah.
Was that guy?
Yeah, I hate the villains. That's one thing they need to work on. And hey, maybe they'll
Yeah,
get it right.
was it Professor Lupin or something?
Yeah, from Harry Potter.
Professor
It
Lucas.
was like the silliest thing too. I'm like, this guy's the villain. Oh, okay.
That was so shit.
Ares.
Yeah, Ares. Yeah. And the costume was dumb. It was like CGI armor
Yeah,
that came
it was
together.
so-
Yeah, it was bad. It was
They need to cool it with the CGI.
What is it, Steve? What is it?
Cool with the CGI armor.
Just awful.
Oh man. And I love how they throw in like in the Avengers movies, they always gotta throw in Tony Stark's like new method of putting the suit on. There's always something different. Like
It's
I thought we
cool,
don't
I
give a shit.
guess,
He's like,
but
do you
I'm
like it? New nanotechnology. And then by now I was like, fuck you, dude. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like who cares?
Like they're falling and it's like liquid going over him. I'm like, fake.
Oh man,
like
it's so shitty. Yeah. I don't know.